Okay. Yeah. On November 1st, 2022, I'd like to call to order the Westborough Economic Development Committee meeting for this month. We have some minutes to vote and approve on. Unfortunately, I wasn't here last month, so I'm going to wait till the end of the meeting to do the vote on the minutes. A couple things I just would like to thank the Vice Chair, Mark Zepp, for taking over the meeting last month, and also for presenting our warrant and getting it passed at the town meeting.
Yes.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
And Fred, I like the way you responded to some of those questions you had there too. So,
I liked
thank
Christie's face when the panic mode when they asked me a tax question. How do I feel about tax? I saw Christie panic that I was going to answer.
That's the one Fred handled very well. Yes, we did discuss it.
That's something, yeah.
All right, sorry for the little laughter here, but first on the agenda here is the EDC grant application for, we're going to start with Karen Amlaw Music. If Karen is here and would like to come up and explain your project and what you're looking to do here and how you would utilize a grant if awarded.
And just before we proceed, I just wanted to provide the board an update. As Todd had mentioned, the article to expand the maximum expenditure from the revolving account as it's related to the grant program did pass at town meeting last week. It's my understanding, based on conversations with the finance team, that that takes effect immediately. And so, just before we go through all the grant applications, I wanted the board to know that, technically the maximum expenditure for the program has been expanded to $60,000. And so, you may use that when you decide, how you'd like to fund applications today.
Great.
So we have, if I understand correctly, we have an extra $20,000 in this fiscal calendar year?
In the fiscal year.
Yeah, and so between now and
June.
June, okay.
Trying to figure out, I probably can get away with not using that.
Yeah, she's good.
Sorry, Dermot Soprano here. But I'm trying to figure out where I need to aim it for Zoom.
You need to speak into a microphone.
Okay.
The people on the screen won't be able to hear you if you don't.
It won't pick up. Alrighty then. So I should just cut. So I am Karen Amlaw, and I am owner-director of Karen Amlaw Music. We've actually been here in town, although it was just me, since 2005. And we've grown from being a couple of classes in the back of what used to be Robinson Music to, about 170 students at this point in our current location, which is Downtown Crossing. And we have a little over 1,100 square feet there, and we're looking to build out at 108 Milk Street, which is going to be almost 2,000 square feet. So we're going to gain a couple of studios, which will give us the opportunity to not quite double our students eventually, but pretty close to that. That is also an older building, just like Downtown Crossing, so in the process of building it out, we're running into all kinds of things that normally we wouldn't have to update in a brand new building, but you do there. And our contractor originally gave us a total of $64,000, but I can tell you that doesn't include any of the HVAC work, any of the sprinkler kind of work that happens when you take, it's the old Kumon location. So it's taking almost a totally open space and dividing it down. Obviously, you have all kinds of expenditures that are not in there. On top of that $64,000, they've already billed me another $11,000 to get the architect to work out the fine details. So I know we're already up to 75, and it already doesn't include those other things. So CAM is totally built and has always been financed literally by me personally. So there was a question on there about, well, will the project go forward if we don't get any money from this grant? It has to. We are in Downtown Crossing and happen to be in part of the building that has a number of issues. We've gone through the past 2 summers literally without AC. They put portable AC units in there that vented into the ceiling and did nothing. As of this week, I've already been chatting with the landlord at our current location about, well, what are we doing? Those same units control the heat, and it is now almost 60 degrees in here, and we have, one of the things that CAM is built on, we never wanted to be the school that had the pianos that somebody just donated that have all the sticky keys and whatever. We actually have a Steinway. We have a 100-year-old Mason and Hamlin that's basically the model that used to be in Mechanics Hall on their main stages until the 70s. And it's fully rebuilt. So we have a lot of instruments that we value and certainly don't want that situation to, ruin. So we're needing to expand. We've basically maxed out the space that we have. We have no interest in doing that in Downtown Crossing because we have these issues that haven't been resolved over years and need to be somewhere where that can be the case. So this would, I've basically taken my savings and then some, and plus some loan things in order to do this project. So it would be very helpful to be able to get some assistance from whatever sources we can. Questions?
Any questions? No?
The 108, that's where the Cold Harbor?
Correct,
Yeah,
yep.
that facility, okay, I just want to get the...
Sure, yeah, no, it's the old, I had hoped that one of the old Robinson Music spaces might have been open, and then we could have started with that and then maybe added a second unit next to it, but unfortunately both of those were taken, so I literally have to start from scratch.
Oh, that's great.
And it was in my looking around, in the general Westborough area, when you own something like a music school, we make beautiful sound, but unfortunately that qualifies as sound. And literally this was the only location that I could find, even going to bordering towns and so forth, that wasn't going to have a major issue with the fact that we make sound.
Understand. Oh, thank you.
All right. Any questions? No? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so next on the agenda is the EDC grant application for Lionsgate Spiritual and Wellness Center. Wendy Reader?
Hi, Hi, my name is Wendy Reeder. I'm the owner of Lionsgate Spiritual and Wellness Center. We're brand new. We just opened our doors in August, and we're also in the Downtown Crossing building. So hearing Karen's story is a little bit disturbing, but no, it's good information. But we took over the space that was formerly part of the Montessori school. So they've consolidated in the far end of the plaza, and we took over 2 suites in that area. So it's 2,500 square feet, so it's a large space. We converted one of their classrooms into a retail store with the access directly to the outside. And we're using the other rooms as teaching rooms. So they're still classrooms, but the teachings are different. We're doing spiritual development work. We're doing wellness work. So both physical wellness, spiritual wellness, emotional wellness. It's pretty much a very broad variety of services that we're going to be providing. So as most people know, it's hard to start a new business, and it's been hard. We've been open for 3 months, and nobody knows that we're on the map. But I've invested a tremendous amount of money and time and effort into getting the business started. I love Lionsgate. It's a passion of mine. It's not my full-time job. I'm a lawyer. I have my own law practice, so that's what's partially funding this. But I've pretty much run through my own savings, and I'm into home equity now. I have no problem doing any of that. This is absolutely a passion for me and something that I couldn't not do. I have to do this. And when I saw the space in Downtown Crossing, I knew that that's where we needed to be. And we planned to be there for quite a while. We took a 4-year lease, and so far it's going well. We're attracting people, but it's taking time. So we have 2 part-time employees now. So I, of course, am not an employee, but I've hired a bunch of people, both contractors and employees, and that's my plan. I want to have Lionsgate be a center in the community for people to come and learn and be among like-minded people. And it's going to require more money, more effort, more time, and more employees. So one of the things that I really want to do is get a little bit of money together to start bringing in more people, or making the people that I have, giving them more time, because they want to work more. I would love to have them work more, but it's just difficult when we don't have much coming in right now. So in my application, I asked for money to support the rent, but I could have asked for any number of things, because everything costs money. We've started from scratch. I didn't have another business that I moved in here. This is brand new. So every bit of furniture, every bit of inventory, our POS system, our computer, everything is brand new. So we actually love it. I'm not from Westborough, and so I live in Framingham, so I come quite a distance to actually come here. But I love Westborough, and I do think it's the right place for Lionsgate to be, and we really look forward to being a part of this community.
Any questions?
Nothing from me.
I had one question. The subscription service that you talked about, you've already set that up? That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. How's that working?
So that's one of the big investments we made is in our website, and part of that website is what we call a practitioner directory. It took a lot of effort to build it because there's a functionality there that's not typical. So we had to get a lot of custom development work done. But it is up and running. We offer 2 levels of subscription, one for practitioners that already have their own websites and their own payment management, schedule management capabilities. So it's a lower level, but we also offer a higher level of support for new practitioners that need us to help them with scheduling, so their calendar management and their payment management. So it is up and running. I've been a little reluctant to, I have a few people on, so there's 5 or 6 people at this point that are on the directory. I could get many more. The problem is I don't have clients yet to sort of bring to them. So it's a stepwise thing where we're actually going to a big expo in 2 weeks in Marlborough, which is our big expo. It's called the Natural Living Expo. We're going to get a lot of exposure there, and my hope is that that's going to start to help us build the momentum. It's already started. We're in the community advocate. We're in We're a member of the chamber. So, we're starting to get recognized and people are coming in. But one of the issues we have with Downtown Crossing is that we weren't offered a sign on the street. So people will not know that we're there unless they're looking for us. So that's, it's hard. It's hard to get recognition, but it's beginning to pick up. And I do believe that once people know that we're here, we will attract people. And our offerings are unique. One of the things that we're trying to do in the retail store is promote local businesses and local artists. So we do a lot of consignment. That's really what we want to emphasize. So we're not, there's a beautiful crystal store on Route 9. We're not trying to compete with them. We actually want to promote local businesses and local artists to give them a place to display. It's the same with the practitioners. We're really looking for new people who are starting out as being, Reiki healers or whatever it is that they're offering, and give them a place to do it, to get comfortable doing it. And my hope is actually they go off and do it on their own somewhere else so that we can bring in new people. So that's my passion, is helping people to develop and to kind of go out and gain that confidence to go and do it themselves on their own.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you. Any other questions for Wendy? Okay, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the EDC grant application for Liquor Point.
Good morning, board members, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present, at the EDC grant meeting today over here. I hope everyone is doing well. I am Nitesh Saini. I am the one of the owner of Liquor Point. We are coming up with a community and quality-based liquor store, like all liquor package store in Westborough, and the location is 168 Mill Street, which is right next to Ocean State Job Lot, Route 9 and Route 135, that West Meadow Plaza. I had put an application in order for, a grant around things wherein we can accomplish our purpose. Looking at the cost of everything, you can count labor or the material or whatever the interiors we are going through right now. Pre-COVID versus now, things have drastically changed. We received our liquor license on 19th September after a little bit of delay, but the store setup or the interiors are underway, and we are slowly and gradually progressing to our start date, somewhere anticipated around the beginning of December this year, if everything goes well from our side and from the town side. The grant will specifically help us in a few ways, because we have realized that our refrigeration pieces, the walk-in coolers are pretty big, so we will have to come up with the sprinklers in the interiors as well. So that has shaken a little bit of our budget. We are also looking to have the indoor expandable walk-in display freezer, which will have the cheese, which will go with the wine tastings and stuff like that. So there are a few things which are going off track for us, and we definitely see this as an opportunity to come up in a full flow if this kind of a grant is being provided to us. We look forward to have one of the best offerings in the town. The town and the community has so far appreciated our efforts, and I want to keep short and sweet. This grant will be really helpful for us. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity.
Okay, so you said you received your liquor license. Is that from both the town and the ABCC?
Yes, absolutely. From ABCC, we received on September 19th.
Okay. And they're all set with the town as well, Christy? Okay, great, thanks. Any other questions?
Nope, I think.
Great, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the EDC grant application for Main Street Pastries and More.
Good morning.
Morning.
Never done anything like this, so.
No pressure.
Well, we've been in business in Northborough for a little over 4 years. We expanded, we need to expand because First of all, I've been doing this 35 years, and I started off really small. I didn't think it was going to be what it is today. We were kind of shocked at how fast we grew. We didn't even have a sign above our door for 4 years. And for 3 people, we grossed almost $500,000. For a bakery that's, you know, tiny little hole in the wall. We were right next to the old honey farms, tiny little hole in the wall. And we just grew and grew. And as I hired, 10 out of my 12 employees are coming back. One of them graduated from high school in the culinary program, and she's off to college. And the other one is going to be a stay-at-home mom. Hopefully we can get up to 15, maybe 20 employees, depending on, you know, schedules. We're very diverse. We have every ethnicity, everything you can think of, and that's how I like it. I know there's a couple other bakeries in town, but we're completely different. We are all allergen certified. All our gluten-free is certified also. Every single product. We have a lot of vegan products, and that's what brings a lot of eggless too. That's, you know, 50% of our business is, you know, allergy friendly. We do like peanut tree nut for all the schools. We've done every single school from here to New Hampshire. We've done products for the Red Heat Tavern. I'm not sure if I want to go commercial yet. I have to get my feet in the door first. I had a heart attack in July. That kind of slowed me down. When we wanted to expand in April, when I signed the lease at 135 Turnpike Road, right on Route 9, we didn't realize it was on conservation land. So there was a lot of other things that needed to be done, and we had to put in a 2,000 gallon grease trap to the building. And then, you're talking, we had to gut the building. So our $10,000 budget is now at $140,000. You're talking every pipe, everything in the building. I've worked something out with the plumbers to kind of keep them at bay. The problem is that single mom, 5 kids, both my older kids worked at the bakery. So that was tough. I paid my employees all of the month of May and all of the month of June because obviously I wanted to keep them. It's really hard to keep employees. I didn't qualify for any PPP loans or any of that stuff, which makes it difficult. So literally right now it's kind of on my good credit type of thing. We didn't pull out any loans and that's it right now. You know, if I could get over this little small hump, which is like the electrician, we still have to get our stove done. We have the fire marshal, we have our systems being worked on actually as we speak, and we'll get that done. We've already had the Board of Health walk in, we had to get all new equipment, you name it, from walls to floor, so it's been a big deal. But I think I could, you know, we're right on Route 9, and there's a huge need for it too, for all the allergen friendly in the schools and all that, so I think we're just gonna go from there. Eventually, I'd like to take over the whole building. Therefore, we didn't just put 1 grease trap, there's 3. There's 3 sewers, and that's all done. It's already been taken care of. So we really went in there and like changed the whole face of that building. I figured we're right next to Starbucks. I mean, that in itself brings, you know, 100 cars in. So that's gonna be a big deal for us. And we are open 7 days a week. We're 24 hours a day, 3 shifts. So we just need a little extra help to get those doors open. And I'm hoping it's going to be soon because the holidays are right around the corner, and that's a big deal for us.
Obviously. So you're hoping to open within the next 30 days or so? Yeah. Good. Great. Any questions?
Because right now, I believe the only thing left is the fire marshal, the building inspector, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is already, the plumber's already done, all that stuff's done.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for those last minute, you know, dot the I's, cross the T's type of thing, so I can start ordering the flours and the sugars and so forth and so on, which, that's the other thing too. I mean, your opening orders are between 2,000 and 5,000, so I'm like, okay, where's that gonna come from at this point, you know? So, it's.
So I just have a quick question. The hours, the 24 hours, were those the hours that you had when you were in Northborough as well?
No, they were shorter hours during the day. With Northborough, because it was such a small place, I have to go, put the kids on the bus, come back. You know, it was that type of thing. Yeah. This is a little different. It's 5 times the size, literally, the space. And the reason I took the space, one, it's on Route 9. I live right off of Lyman, so it's right there. Two, I didn't think that it was going to be such a huge project that it is. So because it was a hair salon, there was a lot of, electricity in the building. There was, everything was, up to date type of thing. But surprise, there was a lot of things that needed to be done to the building itself, which, unfortunately, because it's, I'm the owner, I have to take care of it, and not the building owner itself. So it's been a lot.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just had one on how many people are going to be working there? You said 24 hours a day. Is that, so
Right now
you
we have 15, well, 16 including myself.
Okay.
I would like to see 20, at least half of them be full-time. I do have a lot of, I do have co-op students from Assabet. I try, and then the DACA program, which is the special needs at Algonquin. We have them also, so we do a lot of community things like that. Like we are part of the friend fridge, and we get people to work, even if it's quote unquote seasonal help. We talk to the food pantry, because there's actually people, they just don't need food, they need a job, to at least help them through the holidays. So that's another big thing why I'm trying to push for the holidays, because they come in and they work, a couple days a week, things like that, and they actually, have a little extra money, not just food. So I really want to try to get 10 full-time employees. I think that's comfortable, especially when you have teenagers. They have soccer and they have basketball and they have to go here and there. So the schedules with them change all the time. I try to be as flexible with them as possible. But 10 full-time employees, like 2 overnight, 2 during the day, couple in the evening, that type of thing, is really what I'm looking for. And I just do everything. I just do whatever needs to be done.
Oh, thank you. The reason I was asking that, just for the board here, is I was noticing on the rubric here that under the creates jobs here, the +7, it's a 0, so that would, if you change, it might change their score by 5 points if it makes a difference in your voting.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the EDC grant application for Max Cricket Sports.
Good morning, Zach, and respected EDC members. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
And are you able to see my presentation on your screen?
We can see it.
Okay. So once again, good morning, Zach, and respected EDC member. Thank you for the opportunity to present our appeal for grant in front of you. My name is Bhaskar, and I do not want to give you an early morning tongue twister by making you try to pronounce my last name while you look at the agenda list. Rather, let me talk about Max Cricket Sports. We are a sports gear retail startup in Westborough, primarily focused on cricket gears, planning to inaugurate our first store at 69 Milk Street, Unit 101, which is the old Westborough Mill. Now, why of all sports we choose cricket to start with? As you can see, and possibly you are aware of this few facts, that cricket is a fast-growing game in USA, over 30 million fans and viewers across the entire US. US is a co-host to the International Cricket Council T20 Cricket World Cup 2024, a tournament that is played with all the almost a huge number of countries across the world. And ICC is working to include cricket in 2028 LA Olympics. USA is playing in the Masters, that is the 40 plus, 50 plus, and 60 plus, as well as in the Women's Cricket World Cup. Similar to the following the trend, same trend, New England also has a large base of cricketers and fans, which is increasing very rapidly. And with the huge number of cricket followers, especially people from Southeast Asian community, where cricket is not just a game, but it's a religion for most of those people. But and I also heard that Westborough town is planning on increasing its cricketing capacity and infrastructure by adding a new stadium and things like that. Said and done, the whole New England area lags both in authentic quality cricket gear shop as well as coaching facilities. And we wanted to try to bridge the gap out there. So we are planning to set up this very niche, first of its kind in the entire northern region facility which is basically run by a group of like-minded cricket enthusiasts and who have decided to start this business with a dream to become the most trusted and authorized cricket gear dealership in the entire New England area. Obviously, we are starting small, and as a startup, we are meeting up with a lot of hurdles, a lot of unexpected hurdles, I would say. But that said, our dream is to empower people of all ages and gender. As you can see here, men, women, youth, with gear, accessories, clothing, training, coaching, everything out there, so that they can potentially explore their maximum capability and their love or passion for cricket. And we plan to open our store in the coming weekend itself. We just trying to overcome some severe supply chain issue, and which is costing us to really like a bleed, as we say. As this business is funded by 3 individuals out of pocket, we are, and some of our major shipments are stuck in the port, waiting for the clearance and stuff like that. As we are speaking, our meter is ticking in terms of how much we pay for the storage and all those things, and it's gone way, way, way beyond our budget, and it has eaten up budgets for our other account heads as well, like the rental deposits, furniture, fixtures, computers and printers. We have to do it anyway. So essentially what we are doing is spending out of pocket, taking loan on our credit cards, etc. We have not gone to the bank yet for any kind of loans and stuff, but we plan to do that once we build a little reputation and credibility and the business starts rolling, so that we can grow big. But as of now, this supply chain issue is holding us a little back and eating our total fund budget, etc., etc. So we are obviously in a bit of a crunch, to say the least. And needless to say, this requested grant that we have asked for will certainly give us a foothold to stand on our own feet. Otherwise, the business at the very beginning would be crippled for growth and would be limping to start with. With that, I thank you for your favorable judgment. There are a couple of things I just wanted to mention before I end. One is our website is up and running, and albeit no business, so people can see what we have out there. And these are the, as I mentioned, we are planning to become the largest certified, authorized dealership. These are some of the biggest names in the cricket gear cricketing world. The biggest manufacturers, they have already awarded us the dealership certificate, and we have the goods from them directly. So again, as I said, this fund would really help us to promote this niche cricket niche sports area, and it is applicable to people of all ages and gender. We are the first one to start this kind of activity. Mostly cricket is played by men, and people supply gear. If you search online, you will get most of the gears for men. But here we are trying to promote cricket by among the kids, among the women, and we plan to start our coaching center as well, cricket coaching as well for those groups. Fingers crossed if we are able to make our budget through. So that's what is from me. Again, any questions if you have, please.
It looks here, this is Sandy Kearney, that there's no projected jobs. What is your projection for employees moving forward as you grow?
At this moment, we are 3 people, and we are doing it besides our daytime job. The store hours will be 6 to 9 on the weekdays, and on the weekend we will have an extended hour of 12 to 7, considering the critical mass that who are playing cricket. This is the hour that we have started. Since we are extremely crunched on budget, at this moment we cannot plan for any job creation, but definitely fingers crossed, if our business grows and if we have to run it full time, we will require people, and definitely there is a possibility that we will, and of course with the plans that we have, the cricket coaching, creating infrastructure for cricket practice, etc., we will require people. But as of now, as a startup, we are what I would say, hesitant to dream that big.
Understandable.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you.
We just need to see
Any other questions?
I'm sorry, yeah.
I have another question.
Sure.
Holly, Kenny, hi, Bhaskar. I have a question. One of the questions was, would you proceed with the business model that you're proposing if you didn't get funds? And I think you answered yes. Will you still go forward?
We are I mean, as I said, it's a yes and no. It would definitely cripple us. It will make us limp for a foreseeable future, because as I mentioned, we are borrowing from our credit cards and all those kind of activities just to pay those certain charges. Say for example, we went to get our inventory cleared from the warehouse in New York, and suddenly we are charged with almost like a $10,000 fees. Which is suddenly out of pocket. So we have to use our credit cards and stuff like that, because we do not have that much of fund in our bank. Those kind of issues are always cropping up, and we are trying to overcome that. So to answer your question, we will go ahead. This is our passion. This is our and it's a niche thing that we are trying to do for a very large community. In the entire New England area, but that said, we may have to limp a little bit, if that answers your question.
It does, thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. I don't think there are any other questions. So next on the agenda is the EDC grant application for Play Now.
Again, I haven't done this and I'm a little nervous, but thank you for having me.
Don't be nervous.
No nervous.
Usually not this formal.
So I don't know where to start, but basically my husband and I searched for a place in Westborough last winter, and it was freezing below zero. There was nobody in the parking lot, but we chose this place over at the Westborough Central Plaza, right near a grocery store, Stop and Shop, other family businesses, families like to go to, Staples, Home Goods, Marshalls. So we found this great space, but it did need a lot of work. So besides construction, we had to recarpet it, paint it, redo the wiring, lighting, and so on, the ceilings. And then we had to get our fixtures, counters, and we're open 2 weeks now, and it's been terrific. We have a lot of great feedback. I guess we were a little delayed in opening because of mix-ups with the wrong counter coming, and so we kind of missed 2 weeks of what our predicted sales would be, but all our bills are still due. But we're getting there. But our plan for the grant would be to do a grand opening marketing on the internet, a little bit of radio, a little bit of print. That costs thousands of dollars. So we're kind of stuck. We don't want to delay our marketing because this is the best season for us to draw people in and to find us and to provide what they may need or want. So our little toy store actually has a little bit of everything for everybody in the family, from infants to grandma, grandpa, and anybody. We have games, puzzles, educational toys, and so on. Do you need specific numbers about the internet and the marketing we propose? Okay.
So you've been open a couple weeks now?
We opened 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yesterday
Great.
was 2 weeks.
Good, good.
Well, your signage is great, because, yeah, I definitely knew you were there.
Yeah,
So,
up by the road.
Is it just you and
Sometimes-
your husband working there currently? What's your plan for employees?
We've hired 3 local people, and they're coming along. We're training them. We'd like 3 more. They're part-time.
Part-time?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
You mentioned that you had 2 other locations? Is that
We
right?
do.
Where are they?
Western Mass along the pike. So Westfield, Ludlow, and now we chose Westborough. Smaller locations, and they were just like a start for us to, try it out. We started in the pandemic. Like,
How long have
right when
you
it
had
hit.
the other 2?
2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah. One was 2 years and the other's like a year and a half. There was like 6 months between the 2.
Forgive me, what was the size of the store again?
The size?
Mm-hmm.
The one in Westborough is, I believe, 3,000 square feet of store space, selling space. We have a little back room.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the EDC grant application for Tribo's Peri Peri.
Good morning. My name is Kandaraj Kishore Kumar. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm really excited to be here in Westborough. This is a very great town to be here. So I have a presentation that I want to give. So the Tribo's Peri Peri Chicken is a fast casual restaurant. It's a franchise. They have about 12 locations so far, mostly in New Jersey and a couple in Los Angeles. So I'm very excited to bring this to Westborough. The location is going to be along the Route 9 where D'Angelo's used to be. The D'Angelo's was closed for a couple of years. That location was not being used, so we are repurposing that location to bring this restaurant. Yeah, along the Route 9, I think next to the Dunkin' Donuts, that's where it's going to be. So we started the work already. This is how it's going to look from outside. We also have signs for hiring. We have a lot of interest. We are talking to a couple of people to hire them. So the Tribo's Peri Peri is a kind of a unique flavor, bringing European, African, and South Asian spices together. It's very famous in Portugal, but it came from Mozambique, so this flavor is very unique. It's very famous in Europe. There are a lot of chains out there, so this is going to be a new offering in the Westborough area. The interesting aspect is people can select the spicy levels. It can go super hot to very mild. We also make the food freshly. It's not pre-made. Everything is cooked locally. Some of the food items I just wanted to show, it is, even though it is mostly chicken, we also serve lamb and vegetarian options in the restaurant. So original budget, we had it as $270,000, which included renovation of the kitchen, and then new equipment, lease, and marketing and other expenses. So this is where the construction is right now. We got delayed because of the supply chain issues. We are still waiting on a couple of the grill and other items because it's all delayed. But it's all coming. But right now, we are almost ready. We have most of the equipment has come. We have done the signage. We have signed the displays, the seating, and all of them are set up already. So just current status is basically originally we planned to be open by now, but got delayed because of supply chain and cost overruns. We had multiple cost overruns. We realized we need to put a new vent hood because the original hood that was there was not sufficient. So the hood itself is about $35,000 to $40,000, depending on how you look at it, because there's plumbing involved, there is electrical involved, and so on and so forth. And then, so the overall cost overrun is about $60,000. So current projection is about $330,000. So the grant is, we are going to use the grant towards offsetting the cost overruns mostly, even though the grant is not going to stop the project, but getting the grant will expedite the process so that we can open the store in next couple of, hopefully, end of this month. That's what we are hoping for.
Great. Any questions? Questions? Okay. Well, we thank you for your presentation and hope to see you open soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You were saying about your chicken, how it's Portuguese. I'm from Portugal and I have a huge family, so we're right across the street. We'll keep you in business.
Great.
And I just noticed on the rubric again, on this one, it says that the business was occupied, has been vacant for 12 months. I'm pretty sure D'Angelo's was out of there for at least a year or two.
Yeah.
Of empty, so that might be, I don't know if that's 5 points or 10 points, I can't.
I believe it's 10, so you can.
Just so, when you're looking at numbers.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, no, just because.
Next on the agenda
Incredibly
is the EDC grant application for Wayback Burgers. Just a point I have to make here, I will be recusing myself on this one because I did represent the landlord in this transaction. So, Dario, good to see you. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Dario, I think we're having a little trouble hearing you.
Hey, hold on, let me, can you hear me?
Get some background noise there.
Like a feedback?
Yeah.
Sounds like from us almost.
How about now?
That's better.
Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Good morning. My name is Dario Di Pietrantonio, and as you know, there in front of you, I am looking to expand my franchise business of Wayback Burgers brand into Westborough. And I've been in the food industry for close to 35 years. And I've had the first Wayback Burgers open in Worcester, Mass for close to 10 years. And we're looking to expand, and we thought it'd be a great opportunity for us to expand in Westborough. As we, I think it's be a great location. If you don't know about Wayback, we're a fast casual burger place that sells really good burgers and shakes. And I think it'll be a great opportunity for us to expand there, as I think people will love the food once they try it. So as you can see, we are hoping to employ close to 30 people. I would say 1/3 of those people will probably be full-time, the rest part-time. And the build-out will probably be close to $500,000 when it's all said and done, and the grant would definitely help us offset a little bit of those costs. And, I think that would be great if that would help tremendously. So, don't know if you have any questions for me about the store, the concept, or let me know.
Questions for Dario?
Could you tell us again where the physical location is? I'm sorry.
Absolutely. It's 600 Union Street. The unit is 103J. It used to be the old GNC. I think it's been vacant for a couple of years now. And it's about 1,600 square feet. And yeah, we're in that same plaza where Roach Brothers is and Panera Bread.
Thank you.
Yep.
And so if I may, Todd, just to be clear on this, this would qualify for the Massachusetts vacant storefront funds up to $10,000.
Great.
And if I may add as well, Dario has expressed interest in the vacant storefront program, so his request reflects that. We have been working together over the past couple weeks to pull together his vacant storefront project application ahead of the next EACC, Economic Assistance Coordinating Council deadline.
Any other questions?
Todd, I just had one more comment, if I could, please. So Christie had pointed out too, as Zach had mentioned at the beginning of this discussion, the committee can vote up to $15,000 or actually up to $60,000 if they really wanted to, one session. It's the first hearings we've had for this fiscal year. Technically, the $15,000 doesn't actually get approved until it's gone to the Attorney General, but there's enough money. If you expend it, we can always adjust it later in the year if for some very strange reason it doesn't get approved, but I don't see that being a problem, but just I wanted to point that out to the board.
Thank you.
It's a bylaw change, so it has to go to the AG, but we've never had an issue, so.
Right. Everybody understands that and is on board with it?
What was that, just that, what the bylaw change from the town meeting, the extra 20?
Technically, we have to wait for the Attorney General to approve it. But
Okay.
But you could, I mean, we could still spend that amount, and then if for some reason it didn't get approved, we would just reduce what we award in the future.
Okay, makes sense.
So we have the rubric here that's been developed. For those that are new to the board, Zach put a lot of time and effort into this with the other members of the committee to come up with something that would help us. Historically, in the past, we'd have a tough time determining how much to allocate to who. So we developed this with the intent to use it as a guideline. It's not something we must use, but again, felt it would help us to give us a better sense of how we might want to allocate out the funds. So I guess the first question is, as a committee, do we want to do the 15,000 this quarter or stick with the 10 that we've done in the past? Any thoughts on that?
If we don't have a problem getting approved, I think 15 would be great.
Yeah. Everybody's comfortable with that?
I guess, my only question would be, I guess, if we're already 2 quarters.
No, it's the first quarter.
This is the first quarter this year?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
wow, I
Yeah.
just-
Second quarter of this fiscal year, because we had a meeting in August where we issued
that's
3
right, you're
grant awards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we can do one more and then,
Yeah.
okay, I see what everyone's
So you
saying.
could actually jack it up then, so we've only expended 10,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this would make it 25.
Right. Right. 15 for this quarter.
Yeah, 15 for this quarter. My apologies, I guess I was off a
20 for
quarter.
next if we needed to, yeah, okay.
One other point, if I may, is when we go through the rubrics, there's a working group that does this. It's based on answers we've gotten, so you'll notice as people present, there may be additional information that modifies the rubric a little bit. Just to be clear that sometimes we don't have that information when we're going through the applications.
Point. Thank you.
And to call out a specific example of that, you can all feel free to add 10 points to the Tribos Peri Peri application. I was not aware that the space had been vacant for over 12 months, and so that's why we invite these businesses in to talk to us, right? So,
Yeah, got all the information we're missing.
Yeah. So we're all in agreement, we want to do the 15,000 this quarter? Is that something we should vote on? Or does it, I don't think we have to vote on it, right? We can just, when we vote to allocate the funds, okay. So any thoughts on how we want to distribute the funds?
So just to be clear, so that we all have the same information. So based on the information that was presented here for the proposals, I have several other changes on different projects. For example, jobs created for Play Now. We had 3 full-time jobs at 0 from the presentation. I heard they were going to have more than 3 employees, so does that move to a 5?
I don't think they were full-time employees, though. They were part-time.
Okay, they were part-time. So good reason I'm asking these questions. Main Street Pastries, I heard that you wanted to create more than 7 full-time employees.
Yes, and when I did the paperwork, I wasn't sure if my staff was coming back, because like I said, I paid them as much as I could while not working. So I didn't know if they were, this isn't since May, but I didn't know if they were gonna come back. So before I wrote that out, and now I know that they are coming back full-time, so I have at least, 4 full-time, and then including myself as 5 full-time. But I want 5 full-time plus myself, so it'd be 6.
I think either way there, it's 5 points, though. She had gotten credit for 3+ employees. I don't think we double count that, so it's either 3 or 7. Either way, she got the 5 points.
Okay.
Does double count.
But she doesn't get the additional 5 for creating more than 7.
Well, I think it's either one, Jim.
Okay.
Way back and.
No, I think you get them both.
you do get them both.
That was my question, if there was 7,
I'm sorry,
more than 7.
you would add
Okay.
5 then.
So she gets 5 more points, all right.
I've got,
I'm sorry, didn't she just say 6 employees?
say 6, oh, yeah.
So it would just be 5 for the 3, which she was originally allotted, and not the incremental 5 for the 7+.
Right, so I think the way we had it was correct.
Sorry.
Okay.
Any other adjustments that people saw in here? There was one,
So for Liquor Point, Play Now, and Tribos, are any of them minority-owned businesses?
No, not at the Liquor Point. But
Okay.
I just want to include one thing. I think the board was talking about the empty storefront thingy for more than 12 months. I believe our space was also empty for more than 12 months. Kim's Taekwondo business, I think, ran out of business over 12 months back before we took over the space.
I didn't follow that one. I don't know.
I believe he was saying that he feels that he should get the 10 points for the property being vacant for at least 12 months. And I think he was saying that Kim's Taekwondo was the tenant that had preceded him in that spot. I personally don't know
He's right.
when Kim's Taekwondo, he's right? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool, then that was easy. Awesome. And thank you, Nitesh, for clarifying that.
I did have one more. I think we talked about this, but where was it? Max Cricket Sports, where it says, but for principal, project would not take place. I think in their application, they said that it would not, but then I believe that he confirmed that it would take place, even if we didn't get the funding.
Oh, we already gave him some points.
So that's a 0.
What about Wayback Burgers? Is that the same?
The Wayback Burgers is actually just a typo. That 5 should not be there, but the total number is correct.
Didn't you say that they're getting matching funds?
Yes, they are.
So don't they get 10 more points?
Yeah, we did miss that.
The business intends to apply for matching funds.
I believe that would be 5 points.
No, 5
Oh, yeah,
points.
you're right.
Which one is that, please?
Right above
Oh,
it.
5.
One up?
The same for way back?
Yeah.
That's what
Where's the 5 points go?
So it should be 9.
It's the one on the far right.
Equals.
Yeah, I got that. This is Kevin? Okay.
All right, so if I could quickly go through this and make sure we all have the same totals. For Karen Amlaw Music, I've got 75. Lionsgate, 60. Liquor World, 65. Main Street Pastries, 65. Max Crickets, 40. Play Now, 55. Tribo's Peri Peri, 75. And Wayback, 95. Is that what everybody has?
Yeah, that's what I have.
That's
Gun
what
liquor
I have.
point.
Okay, so what does the committee feel about as far as how they'd like to divvy up the $15,000? Any thoughts on that? Would you like to do three $5,000 grants? Would you
I
like to
think we
do?
discussed that in the past, that giving out smaller grants doesn't necessarily help anyone, you know, because it's like, you know, throwing a cup of water on a fire as far as that goes. It doesn't really solve anyone's problems. I think we're better off to stay with 3 larger grants to really impact a business as opposed to trying to sprinkle across everyone.
If I may, you might want to consider Wayback Burgers is the highest score significantly, and they qualify for up to $10,000, albeit you may not want to grant the $10,000, but you might want to think of something over the 5, somewhere in the middle.
Sorry, Fred, what? Say that again? I'm sorry. Because they qualify for?
It's a matching fund, so
Right.
if they can qualify up to 10,
Up to 10, okay.
if you give them 5, then it would only qualify for 5 to the mass vacant storefronts.
Okay.
So I'm not necessarily suggesting the board grant all 10,000, but you might want to consider more than 5.
Gotcha.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
And by way of any additional context, especially because I think we have some members who are new and weren't around for our first vacant storefront application. The way the mass vacant storefront program works is that it issues tax credits, matching tax credits to businesses that move into storefronts that have been vacant for at least 12 months in a community's designated district. In 2020, the town designated generally our downtown area as a vacant storefront district, and so we use the vacant storefront program as an incentive to encourage businesses and developers to open into spaces that have been vacant in our downtown. In order to qualify for any tax credits from the state, the applicant needs to have received some kind of local grant or local incentive. They can receive up to $10,000 in tax credits through the vacant storefront program. But for every dollar that they would get in tax credits, there needs to be a matching municipal dollar as well. So it's a little bit about what Fred was saying earlier.
So I think my colleague here, talking about we want to make a significant impact on a business and the growth of new businesses. So, there's a lot of really people that have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into their businesses, and supporting them helps to grow our community. So I just like the committee to consider, some of the applications that maybe aren't as strong on the rubric. So.
Any other thoughts? Anyone want to make a motion or anything? Again, I can't vote on anything related to Wayback Burgers.
You could also do it individually, right?
Yep.
So if you know that you want to fund one application at a certain amount, like if there's agreement that one applicant deserves, or not deserves, that's the wrong word, but could receive a certain amount of money, you can vote to give that, and then we can subtract that from the 15,000 and kind of discuss who should be the next applicant to get funds.
Can I just interject one thing that I didn't include in my presentation because it didn't occur to me until now? I'm hearing this whole downtown thing.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to have been in that downtown area, but our people would have been parking on Main Street. Somebody would have been telling me we had a parking jam trying to park all of our parents and whatever on Main Street. So that's kind of where we are. but when the town does events, as you know, we bring Cam to the Rotary. We bring Cam to, our address isn't, but especially once we get out on 108 Milk Street, it won't be, gee, there's a witch in the parking lot. It'll have to be something that comes to the Rotary to be part of what's going on in the town. So I know that doesn't help because the address is in the wrong place, but.
Okay. All right, thanks. Mark, Scott, you guys have anything, any thoughts?
Which Mark? Me?
Yes, you, yeah, the other committee member, Mark Verow, yes.
Sure. I was
California.
thinking that, you know, one of the things that Fred mentioned is also we could maybe increase this round to maybe 17,500 or something like that, because we have quite a few applicants in this round, more than I think we've had in the past. I don't know what it, you know, the 15 isn't hard and fast. I know in the past we've tried to split it equally between the quarters, but how does anyone feel about, you know, making 3 proposals and having one be 7,500?
So I was thinking of the well, first I was going to say that Wayback Burger, I think, has the highest amount of points that we've seen.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm comfortable giving them, you know, 7,500. I'm always nervous to go more than that 25% of our available funds because we don't know what's coming.
Right.
But, you know, I would be comfortable looking at the top 3, which I think are very clear: Wayback Burger, Tribos Peri Peri, and Karen Amlaw Music, and splitting it up between them.
I would probably stand on that. I was pretty much standing in the same place trying to figure out the best way to kind of word it, but that was more or less where I was thinking of splitting between the top 3. We spent the time creating the rubric, which has made life a lot easier for us sitting here, where a year ago we were kind of guessing on what to do. So I think this kind of gives some kind of template that we can always go from there.
I agree. And as much as I appreciate the other applicants and we welcome them to Westborough, we're limited on what we can distribute, and I think we've never seen as many applicants as we've had in the last year and a half. So devised a program to help us distribute these funds, which I'd like to utilize. So does anyone want to make a motion as far as?
No, not yet. I just want to talk for a minute more. I was proposing doing the top 5, Wayback, Tribos, Karen Amlaw, Main Street Bakeries, and Lionsgate. I don't know, I'm coming from what Sandy had mentioned, like, I just think these last 2 would really be a benefit to the community. I love what Lionsgate's trying to do with the, you know, like the center and the art center and the wellness center, and I think Main Street's going to be a big boon to that area too. I just wonder if we can't split it up a little bit more. But I do like the idea of doing 75 to Wayback so that they can meet the matching funds.
I think the point's valid about how many applicants. I think that's relevant. How are we doing numbers of applicants now versus typical? Is it like typically 3 or 4?
Higher.
Yeah. So a typical number,
Well,
3 to 4.
we've been getting about 5.
I think 4 to 5 is probably average. And last year, the most we received in a quarter was 10, and the fewest we received was 3. This year, I believe we received 4 applications last quarter, and this quarter we received 8, one of which was a reapplicant.
I would agree with Elsie.
What's that?
I would agree with
Holly?
Holly,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay.
I'd agree with Holly on the distribution of funds.
I agree. I also do.
Well, why don't, if I may, I make a suggestion that it sounds like everybody's in agreement that Wayback meets pretty much everything that we've put together for a rubric, and why don't, if you guys are so inclined, why don't you go ahead and make a motion to allocating a certain number of funds to them to start, and then let's do that vote and then deal with the other ones. Does somebody want to
I make
that
a motion to award a $7,500 grant to Wayback Burgers.
If I may, Todd, too, well, I'll wait till somebody seconds that, sorry.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Because of the grant for the mass vacant store count, I have to actually read a very specific motion, if I may.
Okay.
I move that the Economic Development Committee approve a $7,500 grant for Wayback Burgers to purchase an exhaust hood for the new location at 600 Union Street, Suite 103J, which has previously been vacant. The $7,500 award amount recognizes Wayback Burgers' expressed interest and acknowledgement that they will apply for the mass vacant storefront program and will be used for the municipal match. Funds shall expended by November 1st of 2023, being a year from today.
Okay, so we have a second on that. I'll let, Mark, why don't you take over with the roll call for stepping in as vice chair, if you don't mind?
All righty, I can handle that. All right, so the motion on the floor is, as Fred spoke, $7,500 to Wayback Burger. Do we need to do a roll call, or is it just?
We will need to do it because.
We do, we'll need to do a roll call.
Why don't you just have everybody say
Yeah,
their last
everyone
name?
can, we'll start, Jim, we'll start down with you and come down this way, I guess.
Robbins, yes.
Kearney, yes.
Zeph, yes.
Kenny, yes.
Bagden, yes.
Leonardo, yes.
Williams, yes.
Moreau, yes.
Rayleigh, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, guys, thank you.
All right. So now we have the task of allocating $7,500 remaining that we had agreed on. And Holly, I think you had mentioned remaining 4 people, is that right?
Well, I did, but now that I'm crunching the numbers, I mean, it seems like it's not really going to make much of a difference. And I guess I'd go back to the consensus, which is the other top 3. So at least the top 3 would get 2,500.
Was the 7,500 with the, it was with 2,500 additional, correct? 17,500?
Well, I think somebody had mentioned, Mark had mentioned going up to 17.5. I don't know that as a committee we had agreed we wanted to do that. Is that?
That was my
You want
question,
to have
yeah.
a question?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so do we have $10,000 here, or do we have $5,000 to split, I guess?
It's really up to the committee and how we feel about that. Do we want to up it to 75?
I voted thinking that we were at the 7,500, so.
Everybody else feel that way?
I would think that we'd rather give it now, and, you know, if worst case scenario, we look at the end of the year where we give out a smaller grant pool and say, this is what we have left to give out at the end of the year, as opposed to trying to find ways to give it away at the end if we don't have enough, we don't know we'll have enough applicants at that last meeting necessarily. History showed us, I guess we should, but I don't want to say, you know, that, and I'd hate to leave money in the pot that we could help businesses out with today, I guess.
On board with that? Everybody else comfortable with that?
So,
Holly, redo your numbers.
What's that?
Redo your numbers.
so what do you want to
Which are the numbers, I know.
See if you got.
It'll be 2,500 apiece.
Right, if you wanted to take the next 4, $2,500 each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the way to
Is
do
that
it.
what your motion is, Holly?
Want to make a motion?
Yes. Holly Kenny'd like to make a motion to distribute $2,500 each of the Economic Development Committee grant funds to Tribos Peri Peri, Karen Amlaw Music, Main Street Bakery, and Lionsgate Spiritual and Wellness Center.
Zeph can second that.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Just for clarity, can you name the 4 again, please?
Tribos Peri Peri, Karen Amlaw, Main Street Bakery, and Lionsgate.
Thank you.
And if you look at the totals, I think they're all within 15 points of one another, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions or discussion? All right. Jim, you want to start?
Robbins, yes.
Kearney, yes.
Zeph, yes.
Kenny, yes.
Alexander, yes?
Bagden, yes.
Leonardo, yes.
Williams, yes.
Moreau, yes. Rayleigh, yes.
All right, great. Thank you all very much. We appreciate, again, everybody coming in, and hopefully, thank you for your presentations, and obviously we are somewhat limited as to the funds we can distribute, but hopefully every little bit helps. So again, thank you all.
Thank
Best
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Second, ABC Board.
Next on the agenda, let's go back, if we could, just for a moment and approve the minutes from the October 18th meeting. I was not here, so again, I'm going to recuse myself on that. Mark, I'll let you
Okay.
that one.
I hope everyone had a chance to review the minutes. If I could get a motion to review, to approve the minutes from the October 18th, 2022 meeting, please. Holly wasn't here
I was
either.
not here.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from October 18th.
And Fred, you might be next to second maybe for me, because I think you were here.
I'll second that, yes.
Thank you. I need people that were here. We were short-staffed in the last meeting.
Leonardo seconds that.
We have enough people that can vote on it?
Yeah, we were very low staff in that meeting. Okay, so we'll do a roll. I'll start down with Jim again.
Robbins, yes.
Kearney, yes.
Zeph, yes.
You here?
I wasn't here, sorry.
Leonardo, yes.
Williams, yes.
All right. Okay.
Moreau, yes.
Rayleigh, yes.
Okay.
Great.
Motion passes. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Next on this agenda is a discussion on the tax classification. As hopefully you all recall, we've talked about this a couple of times in our meetings. The Board of Selectmen will be voting on this, I think, on the 22nd. Is that right? Sorry, the Select Board will be voting on this on the 22nd. I would like for us to, and I think we've done this in the years past, submit a letter of recommendation to the Select Board. I think everybody knows probably my position on this one. I feel very strongly that it's important that we have the structure that we have now, the single tax rate. I think that it would negatively impact commercial business here in town. I think from a landlord perspective, I don't think there's anyone better than Mark Verreau to tell us about his experiences, because he has dealt with it firsthand. And Mark, if you wouldn't mind maybe giving us your thoughts and insights on it as well.
Sure. So one of the things that Westborough has that's a competitive advantage to some of the competing communities, particularly Marlborough, is that we have a single tax rate. I've worked for Caruth Capital for 30 years this November, and I've worked in Westborough 5 years before that. And in that entire time in commercial development, we applied for one TIF, and that was Olympus. The reason for that is that Westborough has a fair tax rate, whereas Marlborough, Framingham is twice the tax rate, and they end up giving tax incremental financing breaks to just about everyone that comes to town, including Olympus. And one of the things that I get to see in my position is I get to see the people that don't come to Westborough, and I know the people that come to Westborough as everyone else does. And taxes are a big issue for companies, particularly the smaller companies that don't have the wherewithal and money to hire, the legal team that does work for, obtaining TIFs. For example, Olympus, I know what Marlborough and Framingham were offering them. And Olympus, although they did have a local presence, this was a search that was, between us and Pennsylvania and who knows where else. So, it's important. The other thing is that, and I mentioned this to the selectmen, is that it's a lot more profitable in Westborough to build residential housing than it is to build commercial housing. And you can drive around Westborough right now, especially with the office environment, and I think Todd or anybody that works in the commercial business will see those parking lots are empty or greatly reduced. You're going to see a lot of distressed commercial office buildings, and now is not the time to add more taxes to already burden owners. And finally, I think what's going to happen is when I first started in Westborough, the commercial tax payers paid about 50% of the total taxes. And I could be a little off on this, but I think it's down to about 30% now. I think Westborough needs to encourage commercial development and to keep the commercial side funding that, and having a single tax rate is going to accomplish that.
That's great. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for your summary.
I'd like to speak to it.
Yeah, that would be great.
I have to say Mark is right on this. And it's hard to believe I've actually been here longer in Westborough than Mark has been at Carew. So you and I need to celebrate 30 plus years, Mark. So what Mark has said is what Mark has been saying for 30 years. And it is true. When a new business looks at our neighbors and looks at Westborough, they have to put together a business plan, and taxes are very key. As a matter of fact, as you know, taxes are often rolled into lending. So you're charged a little bit more on your mortgage if you're making a monthly payment, and taxes are part of that equation. It has given us a competitive advantage over other communities for more than 30 years. And I think that we need to stay the course with this. We've been through a couple of recessions in the time that I've been here, and each time we've been able to maintain because of our tax rate. When expenses increase, a business is going to go where the cost to do business is less. And together with our excellent infrastructure that we provide, as you know, more than 95% of the community is sewered. You add that advantage to our single tax rate, and you're going to have a significant competitive advantage over your neighbor.
Well said. Thank you, Jim.
And Jim, you can speak to this more than I can, but since the over 30 years that you've been here, how many tax breaks have we given regarding tax or incremental financing, roughly? Just a handful, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in all the years I've been here, less than 5. And I would say that the tax break was never a determining factor for a business to land here.
I think the other thing to really consider is that if the taxes aren't higher on the businesses, I feel just as strongly. As part of a community leader as well, the president of the Rotary Club, I deal with the Civic and the Women's Club, and these businesses are willing to donate money back into our community, and with a higher tax rate, they may not have that flexibility in some of our community programs, and things that make this community so special may not happen. So I'm absolutely for advocating for the single tax rate.
Are any of those other groups that you're involved in sending letters of recommendation to the select board, or?
I don't know, but I'm happy to.
That would be great. Like even the Rotary or somebody, if you could, I don't want to ask you to do something, but if that's something that the Rotary would be open to, I think that would help.
Companies and small businesses donate to.
They'd be impacted significantly on this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know Corridor 9's going to support one if they haven't done it yet. Okay.
Karen was at the hearing that they had last month.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with what everybody said here. I think, make no mistake about it, we're competing with the surrounding towns. As a newspaper publisher who represents the surrounding towns, I can see what's happening, and we have to be as attractive as possible. And I think today was very fitting that these folks came in talking about, their backs against the wall in some cases financially, and we need to be as business friendly as possible. And I think Marlborough's a very good example. They are unabashedly trying to get business, for themselves. Good for them, very aggressive marketing, but I think we need to be the same.
Yep.
May I add one more thing, is that commercial properties are valued strictly on income. Unlike residential, where it's where you want to live, the quality of your schools, commercial is strictly on income. When you increase the taxes, the income goes down, so the property becomes less valuable. So there's a cyclical, the less you make, the less the property's worth, the lower the taxes. So,
absolutely.
It's not a 100% gain when you increase taxes either. Thank you.
I have just a question. As the other Mark that came, I've only been here 2 years, 2.5 years. How often is this kind of issue come up, like the idea of changing? Is it just
They vote
because
on
there
it
was a...
every year.
Every year or so?
Per year.
I was just, I didn't know if there was a...
There's been a
Ask John. John is sitting in the back of the room. How often this comes up?
Yeah, I just, as something new, this is because the taxes were going up, so
Well,
people started,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
kind
It's been
of
more-
looking to bang it out more, you know, kind of.
Hi, John Steinberg, Chief Assessor. They vote on this every year. One of the things that, as I think Mark mentioned, is that the percent of residential has increased yearly. This will be the first year that we drop below the 30% threshold, but that percent has continued to increase in that ratio, and so that ratio ties directly to the amount of taxes paid. So this year it'll be 29.5% or something.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments, questions? If not, does...
Could I guess I'd like to make a motion for the Economic Development Committee to send a letter of support to the single tax code to the Board of, the Select Board for their meeting on November 22nd.
Second that motion.
Okay, let's start with any further comments, questions, or anything? If none, then Jim, we'll start with you.
Robbins, yes.
Kearney, yes.
Zeph, yes?
Kenny, yes.
Alexander, yes.
Bagden, yes.
Moreau, yes.
Rayleigh, yes.
Excellent. All right, thank you all very much, and Zach, if you could put together a quick letter.
I can draft something and
I'll
get
just
you.
let me know, I'll stop by and sign it whenever.
Good. I'll get something for you either this week or early next.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the Planning Department report. Jim?
Sure, I'll be brief. In the interest of time, the planning board is going to grant a special permit this evening for a new animal veterinary clinic at 290 Turnpike Road. That's the RK Speedway Plaza for a company called Banfield Veterinary. They're the largest veterinary clinic in the United States. They have over 110 veterinary clinics across the country. They're going to go into a space near where Stop and Shop used to be. And so they do not keep animals overnight. They're a clinic, a daytime clinic. They keep normal hours. They're very successful as a clinic in Northborough. As a matter of fact, one of their stores is in Northborough. So if you're interested in them, you can take a look at what they offer. They're expanding rapidly in Massachusetts. They have one in Cambridge and one in Newton as well. Also, the public hearings continue at 180, 182 Turnpike Road for the Hyundai dealership. I expect that hearing to be continued again. We're discussing lighting and parking currently. The permit for earth moving at the active quarry site at 25 Gleason Street, that's the Ward property. That hearing will be continued as well as they continue to do soil analysis. And we have a couple new projects that are going to be coming in. One is an expansion of the existing Cumberland Farms site. We're all familiar with that on Flanders Road. And the Spectrum Health project is under construction.
Great. All right. Thank you, Jim. Any questions for Jim? All right. Zach, I assume you're going to be delivering the Community Development Department.
Yes. As you all know, we had the Main Street Trick or Treat last week. We released a feedback survey to the participating businesses, and so far we've gotten 18 responses. So far the response has been pretty positive. I think 100% of the businesses that have responded said they wanted to have fun, and or said that they had fun. And then all but one of the businesses that has responded have said that they want to participate again. At least 50% of the businesses that have responded to the survey have reported that they feel that the event creates new marketing opportunities for their business and leads to sales in the future for their business. So I think, the response has been overwhelmingly positive, that it was a great community event that made people feel, more a part of the community and, have fun while also helping to grow and promote local business. As a segue, we're doing another event to promote and support local business, or two things really, at the end of the month. The Winter Stroll is planned, and we are actively recruiting businesses to participate. That event will take place on Sunday, November 27th from 2 to 5 p.m. So if you're watching or if you own a business and you're interested in participating, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can either tell you more or help you get signed up. So far, I believe we've had 17 or 18 signups. And, you know, we've been promoting it since about last week, so I think that's a pretty good turnout so far. We are also on the same day going to be launching our Shop Westborough Holiday Passport program, which is a derivation of one of our LRRP, Local Rapid Recovery Planning projects. And it's essentially a loyalty card program where we'll be recruiting businesses throughout the month to participate. What that will mean for those businesses basically means having their staff at checkout counters stamp or really put stickers on loyalty cards, which we'll be distributing throughout the community to encourage folks to shop local in the month of December. If you get 10 stickers from different participating businesses, your card gets entered into a raffle to win one of 10 or 15 $150 gift cards at a participating business of your choice. So right now we're looking to get businesses signed up. What you'll have to do is have staff commit to putting stickers when people show their cards and make a purchase. And then also, you know, maybe handing out or having loyalty cards at your location to give out to folks. So if you're interested in that as well, please reach out to me, and we can get you signed up for that. Additionally, I don't have it on me, but I wanted to read into the record a card that I received from one of our EDC grant applicants from last round, Mary Beth, who owns Skimworks by MB. She just sent our office a quick note expressing her gratitude and how thankful she is for the award which she received and how instrumental it's been in her being able to get set up and running in her new business. So just as a piece of feedback in terms of how impactful you know, the work that we did here today can be on people's businesses. Additionally, I just wanted to remind folks about a couple of events coming up, specifically on Thursday, the 495 Metro West Partnership, which is located right at 200 Freiburg Parkway, is hosting a forum, an update on the 495 interchange project. So MassDOT in the next few years is going to really start working on a redesign of the interchange at 495 and the Mass Pike. Which will have tremendous impact on Westborough. And so if you're interested in learning more or hearing about what the timeline for that project is going to look like, yeah, I'd strongly encourage you all as economic development stewards of the community to go to the 495 Metro West Partnership and attend. Additionally, the partnership is having their annual meeting later this month on November 17th, as well as the Metro West Chamber of Commerce on November 16th. And then Mass Econ is having a corporate welcome reception next week on November 10th. And that's all I have.
Quick question. Just to clarify, the Shop Local program, it's not just downtown businesses? It's
all open to all businesses in Westborough, regardless of location.
A comment that the trick or treat was really well done, and the businesses really. We took around our 4- and 6-year-old granddaughter, and the decorations, how enthusiastic everyone was, and the comments that we got was, "This is such a great town." I've heard it from so many people, the town hall and the police. Although they set off the fire alarm, I guess, getting set up. But, you know, they really were, it was a really great event. And I think as more businesses kind of see it, it was really well done. So great job to you guys.
Well done.
And also to the board, don't hesitate to think of if there are opportunities in the future to do similar type stuff. You know, please don't hesitate to share those ideas. You know, I think one of the great things about the Main Street Trick or Treat, in my opinion, is that it is a very low-cost, high-reward type event. It really, a lot of the success and energy that makes it what it is comes from the businesses themselves. They do most of the work. We really just sort of do the coordinating to make it happen. And so if there are similar ideas or opportunities you have to do things like that, I think the response we've gotten from this event and the response that we've gotten from the Winter Stroll in years past, I think really indicates that businesses are interested in doing these kinds of things and that it does help create new opportunities for those businesses.
I think that's a little bit modest, actually, Zach, because I know what it takes to get a herd of people moving in one direction, and you seem to do that very well. We were out in front handing out candy, and everybody had the hats on and was having a ball, and the kids were just lit up. It was wonderful. And then I went to Arturo's for dinner, and there was a buzz, and like, hey, what's going on down here? What's going on? I ran into a guy I know from Marlborough. He's like, what's with all the kids? It created something that didn't exist. And then you see people putting structures up. Farris Farms, I think, had a, yeah, I know, but people were getting into it because they knew it was worth it,
Yeah, thank you, Zach, that was amazing.
Thanks. Well done.
All right. Any questions for Zach? No comments? All right. Other business?
Just something I heard today that I'd like to just put on the board for just future discussion. Listening to Karen talk about as a tenant, having issues with the air conditioning and issues with their landlords, and what we can do as an economic development committee to assure that if we get businesses in town, let it not be the landlord that scares them out of town because they have a bad experience or they can't get air conditioning fixed or whatever it might be. I don't know how we support businesses as this committee in that way, but I don't know who owns all the buildings in this town, but I'm guessing there's not a lot of people. I'm guessing there's probably 4 or 5 companies that own the vast majority of the buildings in the downtown area, and make sure those landlords are holding up to their end of the bargain to the tenants that are renting from, I think is important.
And that struck me with Main Street Bakery. I just, how stunning as a business owner myself, how stunning would that be to, oh, by the way, you're on conservation land, you have to do all of this renovation. My heart just.
Yeah, that's a challenging location for sure. Yeah.
Not even knowing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if it's overstepping, but I mean, if we had any kind of like welcome packet to, things to consider when you consider opening a business in Westborough, it just shows, it's one more level that shows that we're offering kind of concierge service. I know that, Marlborough with the MEDC has a lot of ways to welcome people into town, and I think they call it the business owner's toolbox or something like that.
Because we went through when we opened, we were given by our landlord signage permissions where we could put signage, then found out later on from the town after we bought the sign that the sign had to come down. So it was like, we were getting messages from both sides at the beginning. So it's little things like that, if you're talking about a $100,000 project, could save you $5,000 or $10,000, you might not need the EDC's grant if you're not spending or going into something that blindsides you, I guess.
But that's a good point, even if it's a digital thing with links to say, do you need to know about signage? Click here. Do you need to know about this? Click here.
Yeah, so what we can do just to support those businesses from a off-the-ground point, because it's not easy for an Amazon, I guess, to come into town, but at least they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to lawyers to come and take care of them, where if you're a Main Street Bakery and you got, a couple kids at home, I'm sure, trying to, parse through a lease is enough of your day.
You're right. Some of these folks were blindsided.
Yeah.
Dave, Zach started a little bit of that with like the Why Westborough brochure and some of those stats, but I agree. I think going a little bit further would be great.
It's just, questions to ask and just help to educate them coming in. And it also will hold those landlords accountable, right? So those landlords have to come clean, and then they can, maybe a little bit of negotiation could happen where they take care of some of it.
If you start seeing people that are an issue, the town might be able to step in and. So I've done it with the DPW, the sanitation department came in and helped me with the dumpster issue, but it took me going to the sanitation department to get a dumpster emptied. So it was like kind of a, things like that in my day, I don't necessarily always want to worry about the trash pickup.
If I could, we encourage business to come to our one-stop permitting group that meets every Wednesday.
Yeah.
So when a new proposal comes forward, you were talking earlier about the bakery. You're right, she didn't know anything about those issues. But after she came in and met with us, we told her about those issues. And she was surprised to learn that her landlord had not disclosed those things to her.
Yeah.
So the one-stop permitting is before someone actually applies for a permit.
Yeah.
We have all the departments in the room at one time. They can ask questions, and we can ask them questions so that there's no surprises, at least from the town side of the review process. We don't know anything about the private agreement, obviously, but we can help them maybe ask the questions they need to ask their landlords.
So that's really, it's watching the small business especially. Not that the big ones don't need help too, but I think the small ones especially don't necessarily.
And it's mostly small businesses that we work with, so that's a good thing.
Usually the big businesses, if I may add to that, will have paid somebody who kind of knows a little bit more about what they're doing and sort of knows these unknown questions to ask. And so I think to Jim's point, the folks in which I think that the one-stop permitting has the most impact for are the folks who are either trying to do this for the first time or are new to a more intensive development project. But I think that the board has raised a great point here today. I mean, I think, and I think this is a conversation we should consider continue at a future meeting. But I think it could be a great idea to try and put together a one-page questions you should ask your landlord before signing a lease, document or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we could do and wouldn't, in my opinion, overstep, any of our responsibilities as a municipal organization.
Right, it would be difficult to foresee that this ventilation hood isn't up to snuff. That would be hard to predict, but there are things that are pretty repeatable. Yeah.
I think something that's a good example, as you guys were talking about, I was thinking about was the building department recently created, I think about a year and a half ago, something called a change of occupant permit, which is a new type of permit that I think not a lot of people know about, and its intent is, even if there's going to be minimal or really no construction or alterations to the interior of the building anyway, like it's just paint and putting up some shelves, to have an inspector get in there and just make sure that the rest of the building is up to code and safe, that there's, proper means of egress, that fire safety exits are properly labeled, that it's sprinklered if it needs to be, things like that, before business gets in and, opens, and so we don't have unsafe properties, out there in Westborough. That's a permit that not many folks know about, and I think one of the issues that we run into sometimes is that a business opens and we're like, oh, you didn't get this permit that you needed, but the landlord or themselves weren't aware that the permit existed in the first place, and so having a resource guide on some of those things, I think could be beneficial.
I think it'd be a good start to figure out, not say all the commercial property, but I bet if we put our hand down, I can name 3 or 4 companies that I know the names of that own large swaths of downtown. So I bet if, I think it's really a matter of getting in touch with them. The Holbrook company that does mine owns a number of buildings around me, the Dairy Queen and Karate Place, so they own a bunch of stuff. So that covers, you start covering a lot of businesses just by making sure the landlords know. Well, it could tell you who's coming, could tell us who's coming to make sure they get the right information. I guess that's really it, because I know they want paperwork signed. I get that, they want leases and buildings filled, and they don't necessarily care what happens to the person once the lease is signed necessarily, because they're just a business trying to keep themselves full as well. But, if you're a Main Street bakery and you sign a 4-year lease and then find out you have a $100,000 hole to dig in front of your business, that's, could be deadly to a lot of businesses. So anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't want to bring it up, but I heard I wanted this for future meetings, so.
Just one other thing, the select board tomorrow night is voting on, the Regal Cinema, so be on the lookout for that. Finally, it'd be good to get that back in use, so.
That also leads me to another point. I'll be doing the Economic Development Forum before the select board tomorrow as well, at 7:30, which will just be kind of reviewing a little bit of the history of the EDC, some of the ways in which we've responded to the Economic Development Self-Assessment Tool, EDSAT, which was conducted back in 2013, and a bit of an update on, what we're doing and what some of our near-term goals are. So if you want to watch or attend, you're more than welcome and encouraged to, but, no pressure.
Mark has his hand up.
Mark?
And Scott.
So I can speak directly to the One Stop. Caruth is a large business in town, and Jim has seen us there, and Zach has seen us there many times. It's really great to find out what's coming up. A lot of the people complained about this, didn't complain, but they said that the supply chain issues were an issue, and they really are an issue. But I'll tell you, my pet peeve in town, and it's sandbagged so many restaurants and people, is the grease trap law in Westborough. They just took the state law and doubled it. And it's just crazy. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. So a lot of people will come in and they don't realize that they have to do that. I know Arturo's had an issue with it. I forget the chicken place, it's now a Mexican restaurant, they had to dig up and put this, we had to do it at Caruth. It's just, the grease trap law here in town is just crazy, and people don't know about it until they come in.
Well,
That's it, thank you.
One thing I will say, as it relates directly to that and the one-stop shop, as Zach and maybe Jim know, I'm working on a potential transaction for the building in the space where Crunch Fitness used to be. And we have been, the landlord and the tenant, we haven't signed the lease yet, but the landlord and the tenant have been in front of the various departments, including the Board of Health and the DPW, specifically as it relates to a grease trap. And it looks like they are willing to let us try a new type of grease trap that could be a lot less expensive and intrusive if all goes well. So it's still out there and being evaluated right now, but it seems like they are open to some other potential options as it relates to some of these grease traps. Because you're absolutely right, digging up the brand new parking lot and installing it is after the fact can be, it can be a deal breaker for a lot of these potential restaurateurs.
Especially you find out after the fact, you know, if you're signing the lease, then find out, oh,
yeah,
oh no.
Yeah, so, well, that's what, no, I won't get into it.
Yeah. Scott, did Scott have?
Scott?
Yes, so really quick, I was going to say that I think just from experience that Westborough has the knowledge, you know, if people will just reach out and ask, even the business owners that are already here, you know, coming from somebody that did come into town and started purchasing and looking at more, purchasing more, is that you have to be willing to do that investigation and reach out. And I mean, Fred's a great resource, Zach's a great resource. The people on the board are great resources. And, you know, so we have to make sure that people are aware of that as well, that we do have excellent resources that will help people.
Right.
And that way they don't get blindsided by certain things. Because I know from past experience, it's easy to jump in and to do something and want to do something without doing that investigation and research. But then after doing the research, I realized I should have done it certain ways. So we have the tools, and this Westborough's a great town because they do offer those tools where a lot of towns don't have that tool set and they want to punish you once you're in. Westborough's not like that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think to your point, Scott, you know, we have the Center for Women in Enterprise here, you know, right on Milk Street that helps with some of the grants that we may not know about. So helping to direct people to where can they get some more funding. So I think being able to really partner up with those organizations as well.
I think there are resources out there. We just have to find the best way to direct people, help get people that might not know where to look, you know, to get there, I guess. I don't know how we do that.
And a lot of times, you know, I see it all the time. The tenant's excited about doing something and they go into it blindfolded without taking a step back and.
Yeah.
We're in Westborough.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
So could we get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all those.
Aye.
Yes.
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 You guys good? All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for calling in. Mark, it looks like it's still dark out where you are. You're 3 hours behind, I assume?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for getting up early.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks for getting up early.
Thank you.